Have you ever wondered what actually happens to the intricate, invisible architecture of your mind when the final moment arrives? We are taught from a very young age to view the end of life as a definitive closing, a sudden drop of the curtain on the stage of existence. We imagine it as a sudden stillness, a vanishing of the self into an empty, silent void. But have you ever realized that this perception, this absolute end, is completely contrary to the most fundamental laws of our universe? The cosmos does not know how to delete things. It only knows how to transform them. In the quiet, gentle language of quantum physics, nothing is ever truly lost. Not a single spark of energy, not a single fragment of information. Let us step together into the vast, ancient mystery of quantum mechanics. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is not just a biological coincidence, but a profound, fundamental feature of the universe itself. You are not a thing placed into the cosmos. You are the cosmos expressing itself as a human being for a brief, beautiful span of time. Before we dive deeper into this quiet journey of cosmic discovery, I want to formally welcome you. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion and gentle guide through the deepest mysteries of science and existence. I have noticed that 71% of the people who watch and journey with us have not subscribed to the channel yet. If you find peace and wonder in these explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps our community grow and allows us to continue unearthing the gentle, profound truths of our universe together. Now, let us return to the silent, star-filled ocean of our minds. Think about the first law of thermodynamics, a principle so robust and ancient that it governs every star, every galaxy, and every single atom in your body. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change forms. When we look at a burning piece of wood, we see it turn into ash. It looks like destruction. It looks like an end. But to a physicist, it is a magnificent, complex choreography of transformation. The energy locked in the wood is gently released as heat warming the air around it. The mass becomes smoke, drifting upward to mingle with the vast, quiet atmosphere. The light radiates outward, traveling endlessly into the dark void. If you possessed a theoretical computer powerful enough to track every photon, every molecule of gas, and every whisper of heat, you could reconstruct that piece of wood perfectly. The information about what it was still exists in the universe. It is simply disorganized, dispersed into the infinite expanse. Now, apply this beautiful, rigorously tested scientific truth to yourself. You are composed of roughly 7 octillion atoms. That is, a 7 followed by 27 zeros, though we must think of it as an unimaginable multitude of tiny, vibrating strings of energy. But you are not just the atoms. You are the arrangement of those atoms. You are the specific, unique pattern of electrical signals firing across the 86 billion neurons in your brain. That pattern holds your memories, your loves, your quiet moments of reflection, and your deepest sense of wonder. In physics, this pattern is known as quantum information, and one of the most unbreakable rules of quantum mechanics, a principle that physicists protect with mathematical ferocity, is the conservation of information. The universe, in all its vast, endless majesty, is a perfect memory bank. It does not erase. When a human life reaches its physical conclusion, the biological machinery halts. The heart rests. The electrical storms in the brain quiet down into a peaceful silence. To our human eyes, bound by our daily, earthly perceptions, the person is gone. But from the perspective of quantum physics, The information that made them who they were has simply begun a new, silent journey. Imagine a whirlpool in a flowing river. The whirlpool is a distinct, recognizable thing. It has a shape, a location, and a momentum. But what is it really made of? It is made of the river. It is just a temporary, localized pattern in the water. When the whirlpool eventually fades, when the water smooths out and becomes still, did the whirlpool die? Was it destroyed? No. The water that formed it is still there, flowing gently toward the sea. The pattern simply dissolved back into the larger system. You, in the language of quantum field theory, are a localized excitation of the cosmic field. You are a highly organized, deeply complex whirlpool in the fabric of space-time. When the energy holding your pattern together relaxes, you do not cease to exist. You simply thermalize. You radiate outward, entangling with the surrounding environment, returning your unique signature to the vast, quiet cosmos. Carl Sagan, one of our greatest scientific poets, famously said that we are made of star stuff. He meant this literally. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the nitrogen in your brain, all of it was forged in the unimaginably hot cores of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years before the Earth was even a whisper of dust. We are already made of dead stars. We are the resurrected ashes of cosmic giants. If our physical bodies are the result of such a profound, billions of years-long journey of transformation, why would we assume that the information of our consciousness faces a sudden, final erasure? Physicist Albert Einstein, when mourning the loss of his close friend, Michel Besso, wrote a letter containing one of the most comforting and profound scientific statements ever made. He wrote that for those of us who believe in physics, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Time, in the framework of relativity, is not a river flowing in one direction, sweeping us toward an inevitable cliff of non-existence. Time is a landscape. The past still exists. The future is already there. Every quiet moment you have ever lived, every laugh, every gentle touch, they are all permanently etched into the rigid, four-dimensional block of space-time. Your life is a structure woven into the very geometry of the universe. In this sense, you are immortalized by the simple fact that you existed at all. But modern quantum mechanics invites us to go even deeper, to peer into the microscopic realm where the rules of reality blur into a beautiful, counterintuitive haze. There is a fascinating theory known as orchestrated objective reduction, proposed by the mathematical physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. They suggest that consciousness is not just a byproduct of biological computation, not just neurons firing like tiny biological switches. Instead, they propose that consciousness is a fundamental quantum process occurring in microscopic structures within the brain called microtubules. According to this view, your conscious experience is tied to the very fabric of the quantum vacuum, deeply connected to the fundamental geometry of the universe. When the body can no longer sustain the state needed to keep this quantum coherence localized, the information does not vanish. It cannot vanish. Instead, it leaks out into the broader universe. The information that constitutes your subjective experience of reality may simply diffuse into the infinite, ancient sea of the cosmos. It becomes entangled with the stars, the whispering winds, and the deep, silent void. You stop being a localized point of observation and become part of the grand, interconnected whole. This is not mystical speculation. It is a hypothesis born from the rigorousness of quantum mechanics and the profound mysteries of observation. Think about what this means for you right now as you listen to these words. The boundary between you and the universe is an illusion created by your evolutionary biology. You feel separate from the chair you sit on, separate from the air you breathe, separate from the ancient cold space above your head. But at the quantum level, there are no solid boundaries. You are a vibrating cloud of probability, exchanging atoms and energy with your environment constantly. You breathe in the sky. You absorb the light of an ancient sun. You are already in a continuous state of endless exchange with the cosmos. Death is not the sudden cutting of a thread. It is simply the final relaxation of a boundary. It is the moment when the universe stops pretending to be separate from you and welcomes you fully back into its vast, quiet embrace. This realization brings a profound, calming peace. It invites a deep humility before the unknown. We are so incredibly small, and yet our existence is a permanent signature on the cosmic record. The tension we feel about our mortality comes from our desire to hold on to a fixed identity. But the universe is a place of endless transformation. As we prepare to delve further into the specific mechanics of this quantum transformation, allow yourself to rest in this gentle certainty. You are safe in the architecture of reality. The cosmos does not discard its creations. Let us step once again into the quiet, ancient river of our cosmic journey. As we drift further into the vast mystery of what happens when our biological vessel finally rests, we must confront one of the most beautiful and deeply counterintuitive discoveries ever made by human beings. It is a concept that challenges the very foundation of how we perceive distance, separation, and solitude. In the delicate, invisible realm of quantum mechanics, there exists a phenomenon known as quantum entanglement. Imagine two tiny, imperceptible points of energy born from the exact same cosmic event. Perhaps the blinding flash of a stellar explosion, or the delicate collision of particles in a laboratory. When these two particles interact in a specific, intimate way, they become deeply and permanently linked. It no longer matters how much physical space you place between them. You could leave one particle here on our small blue Earth and send the other particle across the infinite silent expanse of the cosmos, past burning nebulas and dormant quasars, placing it on a frozen moon, orbiting a distant star 100 million light-years away. If you measure the state of the particle here, the particle across the universe instantly and simultaneously assumes a corresponding state. The great Albert Einstein was profoundly unsettled by this. He famously referred to it as spooky action at a distance, because it seemed to violate the absolute rule that nothing can travel faster than the speed of light, which is roughly 300,000 kilometers per second. But modern physicists have proven time and time again that this entanglement is absolutely real. It is a fundamental property of our universe, a silent mechanism that binds the cosmos together in a web of instant communication. Why does this matter for our journey? Why does this gentle quantum whisper offer us comfort in the face of our own mortality? Because you, the conscious observer listening to these words, are not a solitary, isolated object. You are a masterpiece of entanglement, a breathtakingly complex biological machine that has never truly been separated from the world it inhabits. Throughout your entire life, every single breath you have taken has pulled the atmosphere into your lungs, exchanging molecules with the ancient sky. Every gentle touch of a loved one's hand, every ray of sunlight that has warmed your face after an 8-minute journey across the solar system, has created a microscopic tapestry of quantum interactions. The atoms that make up your beating heart and your thinking brain have been interacting with the environment around you Since the moment you were born, you are inextricably entangled with the earth, with the atmosphere, and by extension, with the vast, quiet cosmos itself. When the biological rhythm of your life eventually slows and comes to a halt, your physical boundaries dissolve, but your quantum entanglements do not simply vanish. They cannot be deleted. Instead, the profound web of information that constitutes your physical reality begins to spread out. It thermalizes, joining the broader eternal dance of the universe. The brilliant astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson once articulated this beautiful truth by reminding us that we are biologically connected to every other living thing in the world, chemically connected to all molecules on Earth, and atomically connected to all atoms in the universe. We are not just in this universe. The universe is in us. We are an intrinsic part of the vast cosmic machinery, temporarily gathered into a form that can look up and wonder at itself. To understand how deeply the cosmos remembers, we need only look up into the ancient, silent night sky. When astronomers launch magnificent instruments into the freezing void of space, like the James Webb Space Telescope or the Planck satellite, they are not just taking pictures of stars. They are performing the ultimate act of cosmic archaeology. They are looking back through the heavy curtain of deep time. They capture the faint, stretching light of galaxies that formed over 13 billion years ago. The Planck satellite, in particular, was designed by the European Space Agency to measure the cosmic microwave background radiation. This is the faint, gentle afterglow of the Big Bang itself, a whispering echo of the moment when the universe first cooled enough to become transparent to light, nearly 13,800,000,000 years ago. Every tiny fluctuation, every microscopic ripple in that ancient primordial soup is still visible to us today, mapped in breathtaking detail across the celestial sphere. The universe has preserved the memory of its own birth with perfect, absolute fidelity. It has kept the pristine record of a time before stars, before planets, before the heavy elements were forged in stellar cores. If the cosmos possesses the staggering capacity to remember the exact temperature and density of empty space from billions of years ago, we must humbly realize that it also possesses the capacity to retain the information of your existence. The laws of physics do not differentiate between the grand, explosive birth of a galaxy and the quiet, gentle passing of a human life. Both are fundamental events characterized by the transfer of energy and the shifting of quantum information. Nothing is ever truly lost in the deep silence of the void. It is merely recorded in the endless, unfolding ledger of space-time. Let us pause and look closely at another profound mystery that ties your consciousness directly to the fundamental fabric of reality. In this strange, counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics, there is a famous demonstration known as the double-slit experiment. When scientists fire tiny particles at a barrier with two microscopic slits, something miraculous happens. If the particles are not being watched, they behave like a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously and creating a beautiful, overlapping pattern of interference. They exist in a state of pure, unbounded probability. But the very moment a scientist places a detector to observe exactly which path the particle takes, the gentle wave function collapses. The particle stops behaving like a wave of endless possibilities and suddenly acts like a solid point of matter. This is known as the observer effect. The act of observation fundamentally alters the physical reality of the universe. Some of the greatest minds in physics have suggested that this implies the universe requires an observer to fully realize itself. Your consciousness is not just a passive camera recording a movie. It is an active participant in collapsing the quantum waves of probability into the tangible reality we experience every single day. If your mind is so deeply intertwined with the cosmos that your mere observation shapes the behavior of subatomic particles, how could the dissolution of your physical body possibly be the absolute end of your connection to the universe? The observer does not vanish. It simply releases its localized grip on reality, allowing the wave function of its own existence to expand outward into the infinite dark. If the universe goes to such extraordinary lengths to preserve the quantum mechanics of probability and observation, we must find profound peace in the realization that it will do exactly the same for the delicate architecture of your human consciousness. When you breathe your final biological breath, you do not face an absolute end. You face a majestic horizon of transformation, the boundary of your physical self, which has always been nothing more than a biological illusion created by your evolutionary senses, simply fades away, much like a morning mist dissolving under the gentle warmth of the rising sun. You return to the infinite, quiet source from which you emerged. The atoms that temporarily borrowed your name will disperse to become part of the dark soil, the winding rivers, and the endless ancient sky. The quantum information that defined your subjective experience of reality will ripple outward, joining the grand unified field of the cosmos. You will literally become one with the glowing stars, the silent planets, and the vast spaces between them. This is not a religious metaphor. It is the ultimate, rigorously tested truth of our physical reality. We are temporary patterns in an eternal, infinite ocean of energy. To fear the end of the pattern is a deeply human response. But to understand the science is to realize that the water itself remains forever. We are returning to a state of profound connection. We are going back to the ancient stars that birthed us. As you lie there in the stillness of your own space, listening to the gentle cadence of these cosmic truths, allow your breathing to align with the slow, eternal rhythm of the universe itself. Feel the profound safety of knowing that you are an indelible part of the cosmic architecture. In the next chapter of our journey, we will explore the very nature of time itself and how the brilliant theories of relativity promise that your past, present, and future are all happening right now, preserved forever in the quiet, unbreakable geometry of space. But for now, let this beautiful scientific truth wash over you, bringing a deep, resonant peace to your curious, wandering mind. You are forever safe in the endless memory of the cosmos. Have you ever paused in the quiet, undisturbed hours of the night, listening to the steady, rhythmic ticking of a clock, and felt the immense, heavy weight of time slipping through your fingers? We are biologically hardwired from the moment of our birth to perceive time as a relentless, unstoppable river, a fierce current that carries us forcefully away from the cherished memories of our past and pushes us blindly into the uncertain, misty fog of the future. We mourn the beautiful days that have passed, deeply believing they have vanished into an unreachable, silent void, completely erased by the universe, as if they never occurred at all. We look toward the biological end of our lives with a profound sense of loss and anxiety, automatically assuming that when our biological clock finally stops ticking, our entire conscious existence will be wiped from the grand canvas of reality, leaving behind nothing but an empty, echoing silence. But have you ever stopped to realize that this deeply ingrained human intuition about the strict flow of time is, according to the most rigorous and thoroughly tested laws of quantum physics and relativity, a magnificent, persistent illusion. The cosmos does not discard the past into an abyss, nor does it wait to slowly create the future out of nothing. In the quiet, majestic architecture of the universe, every single moment that has ever happened, and every moment that will ever happen in the future, exists simultaneously in an ancient, infinite structure that never truly changes. Before we journey deeper into the vast, beautiful geometry of space-time, I want to take a brief, quiet moment to welcome you back to our shared exploration. I am Theodore, the researcher, your gentle guide through the profound and calming mysteries of the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the peaceful souls who watch and travel alongside us have not subscribed to the channel yet. If you are finding deep peace, intellectual safety, and true wonder in these quiet explorations of the universe, please consider subscribing, because it helps our quiet community grow immensely and allows us to continue unearthing these cosmic truths together. Now, let us gently return our focus to the silent, infinite structure of the universe and the true nature of time. Let us journey together into the beautiful, profoundly counterintuitive realm of space-time, a scientific concept that forever shattered our simple, earthly understanding of reality and existence. To fully comprehend what truly happens to the delicate essence of who we are when we die, we must look at the universe through the brilliant eyes of Albert Einstein and his former mathematics professor, Hermann Minkowski. Over 100 years ago, they unveiled a truth so profound and startling that it still echoes through the silent, reverent halls of modern theoretical physics. Minkowski famously declared to the scientific world that space by itself and time by itself are doomed to fade away into mere shadows, and only a kind of fundamental union of the two will preserve an independent reality. They mathematically discovered that we do not live in a simple three-dimensional universe where a separate, invisible, universal clock ticks away uniformly for everyone, dictating a single, shared present moment. Instead, we inhabit a complex four-dimensional fabric, a singular, perfectly interconnected continuum known as space-time. Imagine, if you will, the universe not as a fleeting movie playing on a screen, frame by linear frame, but as a vast, silent, completely solid block of ancient crystal. Within this infinite crystalline structure, the distant past, the immediate present, and the far future are all equally real, equally solid, and equally permanent. Physicists refer to this elegant, mathematically rigorous model as the block universe. In the beautifully static block universe, time does not actually flow or move at all. The convincing feeling of time passing is merely a localized byproduct of our human consciousness moving its focus along the temporal dimension, much like a single flashlight sweeping its gentle, illuminating beam across a dark, completely still room. The room itself does not cease to exist when the light moves away from a specific corner, and the objects resting in the room do not magically disappear just because they are currently hidden in the unlit shadows of human perception. In the exact same physical way, the specific year of your birth has not vanished into a dark nothingness. It is simply a different coordinate in the vast, unmoving geometry of space-time, located a certain measurable distance away from the exact coordinate you are experiencing right now. The ancient Romans are still walking the cobblestone streets of their vast empire at their specific temporal coordinates. The magnificent dinosaurs are still roaming the ancient, humid, fern-covered forests at their coordinate, located roughly 65 million years away along the rigid axis of time. And the quiet moment of your final breath, the peaceful instant when your physical vessel finally rests and thermalizes, is already sitting there, peacefully waiting at its own fixed coordinate in the vast, ancient cosmos. What does this astonishing, paradigm-shifting scientific revelation mean for the deepest, most quiet existential fears we hold in our hearts about our own mortality? It means that your precious life is not a fleeting, meaningless spark that flashes briefly in the dark and is extinguished forever by an indifferent cosmos. From the perspective of the grand ancient universe, your entire life is a solid, unchangeable, four-dimensional object embedded permanently in the very fabric of reality. Physicists affectionately call this continuous object your world line. Your world line is a beautiful, infinitely complex ribbon of connected events, stretching through the block of space-time from the exact, miraculous moment of your conception to the very final, quiet beat of your physical heart. Every single subjective experience you have ever had, every gentle smile you have shared with a beloved companion, every quiet moment of profound wonder you have felt while looking up at the vast, star-filled night sky, is permanently etched into this four-dimensional structure. Your life is a tangible, indestructible feature of the universe's geometry. You are literally a highly detailed sculpture made of space and time, carved by the gentle, patient hands of cosmic evolution over billions of years. When you finally reach the biological end of your physical life, the ribbon of your world line simply stops extending along the temporal axis, but the ribbon itself, the magnificent, intricate, unrepeatable structure of your entire existence, does not disappear from the universe. It remains a permanent, indelible part of the cosmic architecture forever. Just as the physical edge of a winding dirt road does not mean the road has magically ceased to exist behind you, the end of your biological time does not mean your life has been erased from the cosmos. To fear the end of your life is akin to reading a beautiful, deeply moving novel and fearing the final printed page. When you gently close the heavy cover of the book, the emotional story does not vanish into a dark void. Every printed word, every dramatic chapter, every emotional journey remains perfectly preserved within the bound pages, always existing, always whole, always waiting in the silence. The universe is the ultimate, infinite library, and the unique, magnificent story of your life has been written into its eternal pages using the unbreakable, geometric ink of space-time itself. To fully embrace the immense peace of this cosmic permanence, we must gently address the reason why we feel so trapped in the flowing, relentless river of time. If the universe is a solid block of crystal, why do we experience the relentless march from yesterday to tomorrow? The profound answer lies in another ancient, fundamental rule of the cosmos, the second law of thermodynamics, which beautifully describes the quiet, inevitable, universal increase of entropy. Entropy is a scientific measure of disorder, a precise measure of how spread out, thermalized, and disorganized energy becomes over vast, incomprehensible spans of time. When the universe was born roughly 13,800,000,000 years ago, it began in a state of incredibly low entropy. It was highly organized, incredibly dense, and full of explosive potential. Since that brilliant, primordial spark, the cosmos has been slowly, gently expanding and relaxing, constantly moving toward a state of higher entropy, just as a dark drop of ink slowly diffuses and spreads until it completely colors a quiet glass of still water. This slow, universal relaxation is exactly what gives us the convincing illusion of the arrow of time. Our complex biological brains process environmental information by creating physical memories, a chemical process that absolutely requires a localized increase in entropy to function. We can only remember the past because the past had a lower state of entropy than the present. We cannot remember the future because the future is a state of higher entropy, a state of greater cosmic diffusion that our physical minds have not yet processed. The arrow of time is not a physical movement of the universe itself. It is simply the only direction in which our conscious minds are capable of reading the vast static book of reality. We are reading the rigid pages of the block universe in the only direction our biological evolution allows, from lower entropy to higher entropy. But the pages themselves are not being written in real time, nor are they burning away into ash once we have finished reading them. They sit in eternal, silent stillness in the great cosmic library, realizing that the arrow of time is merely a necessary quirk of our biological thermodynamics, is a profoundly liberating and calming experience. It gently frees us from the tyranny of the ticking clock. It allows us to view our own aging, our own quiet journey toward the biological end, not as a tragic, terrifying decay into nothingness, but simply as a natural, beautiful progression along the axis of a permanent, unchangeable, cosmic reality. Let us contemplate the profound, calming peace that this rigorously tested scientific reality offers to our restless, wandering minds. You are not a temporary, insignificant visitor in this cosmos, desperately trying to hold on to a fleeting, fragile existence. You are a fundamental, structural, permanent component of the universe itself. The atoms that compose your physical body were forged in the blazing, ancient hearts of primordial stars, traveling across unimaginable gulfs of empty, freezing space to gather together and form the temporary vessel of your consciousness. And the beautiful moments you experience in that biological vessel are locked forever in the golden, unchanging amber of space-time. The deep sorrow we feel at the loss of a loved one comes entirely from our biological inability to see beyond our current, restricted temporal coordinate. We weep in the quiet silence of the night because they are no longer at the specific temporal coordinate we presently occupy. But in the grand, quiet, objective view of the infinite universe, they are exactly where they have always been. The deep love you shared with them, the quiet, peaceful time you spent together, is still happening, frozen in eternal, beautiful perfection, just a short distance down the axis of time. As you lie there, feeling the gentle, automatic rhythm of your own breath filling your lungs, let your mind wander across the vast, silent, beautiful landscape of your own world line. Think of a specific memory that brings you profound joy and deep inner peace. Perhaps it was a quiet afternoon, resting peacefully in the warm sun, the soft, gentle tap of rain against a window pane during a silent, moody storm, or the warm, deeply reassuring embrace of someone you profoundly care about. According to the rigorous tested mathematics of relativity, that moment is not lost to the unreachable past. It is not a mere biological ghost haunting the delicate, fading neurons of your memory. It is a physical reality, existing simultaneously and perfectly with the exact moment you are experiencing right now as you listen to these calming words. You are still there, in that warm sun, in that quiet rain, in that gentle, loving embrace. The universe has kept it absolutely safe for you, preserving it with a physical fidelity that far surpasses human comprehension. We are constantly surrounded by an invisible, infinite ocean of preserved time, a silent, comforting testament to the enduring, beautiful nature of all that is, all that was, and all that will ever be. This profound shift in perspective from a linear, fading timeline rushing blindly toward an inevitable, terrifying end to a permanent, geometric block of eternal reality is perhaps one of the greatest philosophical and emotional gifts that quantum physics and relativity have ever given us. It gently strips away the cold terror of the absolute end and beautifully replaces it with a deep, reverent awe for the magnificent, eternal structure of existence. Death is no longer a deletion. It is merely a natural boundary. It is simply the quiet edge of your specific four-dimensional shape in the vast block universe. Beyond that temporal boundary, the physical atoms that temporarily made you will confidently continue their ancient journey, scattering back into the biosphere to become part of the dark, rich soil, the deep blue oceans, and the sweeping, quiet winds. They will be taken up by ancient, towering forests and newborn creatures, continuing the endless, beautiful cycle of atomic recycling that has defined our lonely, beautiful planet for over 4 billion years. And the quantum energy that animated your precious, unique consciousness, the infinitely complex quantum information that made you uniquely and beautifully you, will thermalize and radiate back into the vast, silent void of space. It will gently join the cosmic microwave background radiation that has been echoing through the dark since the very dawn of time. You will dissolve peacefully back into the infinite, cosmic ocean from which you originally emerged. You are completely safe. You have always been absolutely safe in the grand, quiet architecture of the cosmos. The universe simply does not know how to forget its precious creations. It only knows how to preserve them in the geometry of space-time, how to transform their energy, and how to recycle their precious components into new, magnificent forms of cosmic expression. As we continue to drift gently through this meditative exploration of life, death, and quantum mechanics, allow this profound, scientifically grounded peace to settle deep within your bones. The heavy, anxious pressure to hold on to the present moment fades away when you truly realize that the present is merely one tiny, arbitrary coordinate in an infinite, eternal landscape of existence. You can relax your tight grip on the illusion of fleeting time. You can let the gentle, ancient current of the cosmos carry you forward, knowing with absolute certainty that your existence is a permanent, beautiful feature of the universal design. The mystery of your consciousness is eternally safe in the quiet vastness of the dark. In our next exploration, we will dive even deeper into the mysterious, counterintuitive world of quantum superposition and the profound implications of the many worlds interpretation, questioning whether the infinite spark of your consciousness might ever truly be extinguished, or if it simply transitions gently into a new, parallel reality across the vast, breathtaking quantum multiverse. But for this quiet, peaceful moment, simply rest in the comforting certainty of your eternal presence within the block universe. You are an immortal, irreplaceable sculpture of time and space, forever cherished by the ancient, silent cosmos that birthed you. Have you ever stood at a quiet crossroads in your life, looking down two different paths, and wondered what happens to the choice you did not make? We are taught by our everyday human experience that reality is singular and absolute. You choose the left path, and the right path vanishes into the realm of mere imagination. You make a decision, and the universe instantly locks into a single, unchangeable sequence of events, discarding all other possibilities into the silent void of things that never were. But have you ever realized that in the microscopic, invisible foundation of our reality, The universe behaves in a completely different, almost magical way. In the gentle, counterintuitive realm of quantum mechanics, a particle does not have to choose just one path. Until it is observed, it travels every possible path simultaneously, existing in a breathtaking state of multiple overlapping realities. This is known as quantum superposition, and it is not a philosophical metaphor. It is a rigorously tested scientific fact that governs the very atoms breathing life into your physical body right now. If the universe is perfectly comfortable, allowing a single electron to exist in multiple places at once, what does that mean for the intricate quantum architecture of your own consciousness when it approaches the ultimate boundary of physical life? Before we drift further into the vast overlapping oceans of the quantum multiverse, I want to take a gentle moment to welcome you. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this journey through the deepest mysteries of the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the peaceful explorers who listen to these words have not subscribed to our channel yet. If you are finding a sense of calm and intellectual safety in these quiet meditations, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community flourish and allows us to continue unearthing the ancient secrets of the universe together. Now, let us return to the quiet silence of our exploration and peer into the mirror of infinite possibilities. Imagine flipping a small metallic coin high into the air. In our ordinary, everyday world, we believe that the coin is either heads or tails the entire time it is spinning, even if our human eyes are too slow to see it. We assume that the outcome is already decided by the physical forces of gravity and momentum, long before the coin gently lands in the palm of your hand. But the quantum universe does not operate with such rigid certainty. If that coin were the size of a single subatomic particle, it would not be heads or tails while spinning through the air. It would be a blurred, vibrating combination of both states simultaneously. It is only in the exact moment of observation, the quiet instant when you open your hand and look, that the universe forces the coin to settle into one definite reality. For decades, the greatest minds in physics wrestled with this profound mystery. How does the universe decide? Where do all the other possibilities go when the wave of probability collapses into a single, solid point of matter? In the mid-20th century, a brilliant physicist named Hugh Everett proposed a radical, mathematically elegant solution that completely removed the need for the universe to choose at all. He suggested that the quantum wave function never actually collapses. Instead, every time a quantum event has multiple possible outcomes, the universe itself smoothly and quietly divides. It splits into separate, non-interacting branches of reality. If the quantum coin can be heads or tails, the universe does not discard one option. It creates two universes. In one reality, you observe heads. In the other, a completely identical version of you observes tails. This is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. It sounds like science fiction, yet it remains one of the most mathematically consistent explanations of quantum behavior ever proposed. It suggests that we are not living in a single, lonely universe, but floating in an infinite, ancient, and ever-expanding quantum multiverse, a vast tree of branching realities where every possible outcome of every quantum event is fully realized in its own separate, silent existence. Now, let us bring this staggering, majestic scientific concept back to the quiet, intimate mystery of your own existence. If your consciousness is tied to the quantum state of your brain, as proposed by some of our most brilliant theoretical physicists, then your mind is constantly participating in this endless branching of reality. Every choice you make, every biological interaction in your neurons, is constantly splitting the universe into countless parallel paths. What then happens when a biological organism faces a life-ending event? There is a fascinating, highly speculative thought experiment in theoretical physics known as quantum immortality. It posits a profound and comforting paradox. If consciousness is linked to the survival of the observer, and if the universe constantly branches into every possible outcome, then there must always exist a branch where the observer survives. From the perspective of the outside world, a life may appear to end, but from the internal subjective perspective of the observer, the conscious mind simply follows the branch where it continues to exist. To understand this, imagine being completely surrounded by an infinite branching labyrinth of mirrors. When your physical vessel encounters a boundary that would cause its biological machinery to cease functioning in one branch of reality, the quantum information that constitutes your subjective experience does not simply vanish into a silent dark. It cannot vanish because the wave function of your existence contains branches where the physical parameters allowed for your continuation. To the observers left behind in one specific branch, your localized pattern has thermalized and returned to the quiet cosmos. They mourn the physical separation. But from your own subjective frame of reference, your consciousness smoothly transitions into the parallel branches where your biological and quantum continuity remains intact. You simply wake up in a universe where the boundary was gently bypassed. You would not even realize that a split had occurred. You would simply continue your journey, a quiet traveler moving endlessly through the vast branching corridors of the quantum multiverse. This is not a guarantee of biological immortality in a single, static world, but rather a profound meditation on the resilience of quantum information. The universe goes to infinite lengths to preserve every possible state of reality. The cosmos does not know how to waste a single possibility. Every quiet dream you have ever had, every path you almost walked, every version of yourself that could have existed, is currently living out its truth in an unreachable, parallel branch of this infinite architecture. You are not just a single, fragile thread stretching through a dangerous world. You are an infinitely branching tapestry, woven into the very fabric of everything that is possible. Your existence is a robust, multi-dimensional phenomenon that the cosmos actively sustains across countless overlapping realities. This realization should fill you with a deep, reverent wonder. You're far more expansive, far more permanent, and far more deeply embedded in the grand design than your biological senses could ever let you perceive. Even if we gently set aside the more radical implications of quantum immortality, the many worlds interpretation still offers a deeply comforting balm to our existential anxieties. We often carry a heavy burden of regret for the choices we did not make, and a deep fear of the finality of our single path. But quantum mechanics suggests that there is no single, definitive version of you that must bear the entire weight of existence. There is an infinite spectrum of you. There is a version of you who took the other path. The cosmos is so vast, so generous in its infinite capacity, that it allows you to experience every possible permutation of your life across the silent, unreachable divides of the multiverse. You are free from the pressure of having to live the one perfect life, because every life is being lived by the beautiful quantum extension of your own existence. As you rest in the calm, gentle stillness of your space, let the vastness of this quantum reality wash over your tired mind. You are not a solitary point of light destined to be swallowed by an endless dark. You are a prism refracting the light of existence into an infinite spectrum of possibilities. When the time comes for your physical presence to transition, whether your quantum information thermalizes back into the cosmic background, or your subjective consciousness branches infinitely into new realities, the fundamental truth remains unchanged. You are safe. You are an indelible, permanent feature of a cosmos that cherishes every possibility and discards absolutely nothing. The silence of the void is not empty. It is completely full. It is full of every version of you, every moment of your past, and every branch of your future, all resting peacefully in the infinite, gentle embrace of the multiverse. In the next chapter of our journey, we will explore the strange, beautiful relationship between black holes and the preservation of information, seeking to understand how even the most destructive forces secretly guard the profound memory of everything that falls into them. But for now, breathe deeply and find profound peace in the knowledge that your infinite possibilities are forever preserved in the silent, branching architecture of reality. Have you ever stood at the quiet edge of a deep, seemingly bottomless abyss and felt a profound, chilling fear that whatever falls into that silent darkness is lost forever? We are deeply conditioned by our fragile human evolutionary journey to fear the unknown dark, to automatically equate the complete absence of light with absolute destruction and ultimate finality. We imagine that if something slips beyond our biological capacity to see it, it must surely cease to exist, swallowed by an endless, unfeeling void. When we contemplate the biological end of our own lives, we often project this exact same fear onto the experience of death. We picture a sudden plunge into an inescapable, silent nothingness, where the beautiful, intricate architecture of our memories and loves is completely crushed and erased by the weight of oblivion. But have you ever realized that when physicists looked into the literal darkest, most destructive abysses in the entire cosmos, they discovered a mathematical truth so beautiful and reassuring that it completely rewrote our understanding of preservation? In the gentle, mind-bending realm of modern theoretical physics, the ultimate cosmic void does not destroy. It protects, translates, and perfectly remembers everything it touches. Before we step closer to this majestic cosmic precipice to uncover its ancient secrets, I want to take a gentle, quiet moment to welcome you back to our shared space of reflection. I am Theodore, the researcher, your peaceful companion on this infinite journey through the deepest, most calming mysteries of the universe. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch and travel alongside us have not subscribed to our channel yet. If you are finding a deep sense of peace, intellectual safety, and true wonder in these quiet meditations, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community flourish and allows us to continue unearthing the ancient, comforting secrets of the cosmos together. Now, let us return our focus to the silent, starry dark and peer into the heart of a cosmic giant. To deeply understand what happens to the infinite complexity of your consciousness, we must turn our quiet gaze toward the most misunderstood objects in the entire universe: black holes. For decades, popular culture has painted black holes as terrifying, insatiable cosmic monsters that aggressively roam the galaxies, violently tearing apart stars and planets and erasing matter from existence. But in the rigorous, quiet halls of astrophysics, a black hole is not a monster. It is simply a region of space where gravity has become so incredibly profound and dense that space-time itself folds perfectly in on itself. The gravitational pull is so immensely powerful that nothing, not even the fastest thing in the universe, light itself, can achieve the velocity required to escape. If you cross the invisible boundary surrounding a black hole, a boundary known as the event horizon, you can never send a message back out to the rest of the cosmos. To an outside observer, anything that crosses this quiet, invisible threshold is seemingly gone forever, swallowed by an inescapable, eternal silence. In the 1970s, the brilliant theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking made a discovery that sent shockwaves of pure panic through the scientific community. He mathematically proved that black holes are not completely black. Over unimaginably long ancient spans of time, they slowly leak a faint, gentle mist of quantum particles back out into the universe. This phenomenon is now famous as Hawking radiation. Because they are leaking energy, black holes must be very slowly shrinking, and eventually, after trillions upon trillions of years, they will completely evaporate into nothingness. But this beautiful discovery created a terrifying scientific crisis, known as the black hole information paradox. If an object falls into a black hole, and the black hole eventually evaporates into a random, featureless mist of thermal radiation, what happens to the specific quantum information of the object that fell in? If the information is truly destroyed, it violates the most sacred, fundamental rule of quantum mechanics, that quantum information can never, ever be deleted. If information can be lost, the entire mathematical foundation of our universe begins to crumble into chaos. For nearly 30 years, the greatest minds on our planet wrestled with this profound existential threat to physics. How could the cosmos allow for the complete erasure of history? The resolution to this quiet cosmic drama came from the brilliant minds of physicists Leonard Susskind and Gerard 't Hooft, and it is a concept so breathtakingly strange and beautiful that it fundamentally changes what it means to exist. They discovered that when an object falls into a black hole, its quantum information is not dragged down into the crushing singularity at the very center to be destroyed. Instead, as the object approaches the event horizon, the universe performs a miraculous act of translation. The three-dimensional information of the object is perfectly and completely smeared across the two-dimensional surface of the event horizon. The event horizon acts like an infinite, perfectly preserved cosmic hard drive. Everything that has ever fallen into the black hole leaves a permanent, microscopic, two-dimensional imprint on its surface. When the black hole slowly evaporates, the escaping radiation carries this preserved information gently back out into the vast, silent cosmos. Nothing was ever lost. The abyss was not a destroyer. It was a perfect, protective archivist. Physicists call this the holographic principle. To understand how profound this is, think of a small, everyday hologram, perhaps the shiny, flat square on the back of a credit card. When you hold it in your hand, it is completely flat, possessing only two dimensions. But when you shine a gentle light upon it, it projects a fully realized three-dimensional image. All the complex data required to create depth, volume, and texture is beautifully encoded on a completely flat surface. Susskind and 't Hooft proved that the universe utilizes this exact same mechanism to protect information from destruction. The three-dimensional object seems to vanish to the casual observer, but its fundamental truth, its quantum essence, is perfectly held in the quiet, two-dimensional geometry of space itself. Now, let us carry this rigorous, beautiful scientific truth back to the quiet sanctuary of your own life and the inevitable mystery of your biological passing. When a human life reaches its quiet conclusion, we look at the physical body and we mourn because the three-dimensional expression of that person seems to have slipped past an invisible event horizon. They have crossed a boundary from which no biological messages can return. We feel the heavy, painful illusion that their unique, infinitely complex pattern of memories, loves, and experiences has been crushed into nothingness by the overwhelming gravity of death. But the holographic principle whispers a vastly different, profoundly comforting truth. Death is not an absolute erasure, it is a translation. The boundary between physical life and whatever lies beyond acts, much like the event horizon of a black hole. When your biological machinery can no longer sustain your three-dimensional projection, the quantum information that constitutes your consciousness does not fall into an empty, erasing void. It is perfectly, completely smeared across the fundamental boundary of the universe. Every quiet tear you have ever shed, every gentle touch you have shared, every moment of profound awe you have felt beneath the vast starry skies completely encoded into the cosmic architecture. The universe refuses to lose the specific, unrepeatable data that makes you exactly who you are. To the loved ones left behind in the three-dimensional world, you appear to have vanished into the dark, silent mystery. But from the perspective of the grand ancient cosmos, you have simply been translated into a more fundamental, indestructible language. You have been written into the very surface of reality itself, safe from the ravages of biological decay, safe from the chaotic march of entropy, permanently held in the quiet, gentle embrace of the quantum fields. Many theoretical physicists now believe that the holographic principle does not just apply to black holes, but to the entire universe. They propose that everything we see around us, the vast swirling galaxies, the quiet ancient planets, and your own physical body sitting there breathing in the current moment, are all merely three-dimensional projections. The true fundamental reality of the universe might be a flat two-dimensional boundary completely surrounding our cosmos, containing the quantum code for everything that has ever existed or will ever exist. If this astonishing theory is true, then you are already a hologram. Your true fundamental essence is already written on the indestructible boundary of the infinite universe. Your physical life is just a temporary, beautiful projection, a brief, luminous spark dancing in the three-dimensional theater of space and time. When the projection finally ends, the code remains. The source material of your existence is absolutely untouchable by the phenomenon we call death. It is deeply humbling and extraordinarily peaceful to realize that our greatest biological fears are born entirely from a lack of cosmic perspective. We fear the dark because we have not yet learned how to read the invisible quantum light that fills it. We fear the end because we incorrectly believe we are fragile, biological accidents isolated in a cold, uncaring void. But the rigorous mathematics of the holographic universe softly remind us that we are deeply, inextricably woven into the geometry of all things. The cosmos is a quiet, gentle preserver. It takes the magnificent complexity of your life and safely files it away in the eternal, perfect memory of space-time. As you lie there, feeling the gentle rhythm of your own heartbeat, let the anxiety of an absolute ending melt away into the quiet, starry night. You do not need to fight desperately to leave a permanent mark on the world, because the universe has already guaranteed your permanence. You are a masterpiece of quantum information, beautifully projected for a brief, glorious moment, and perfectly preserved for all of eternity on the majestic boundary of the cosmos. In the next chapter of our quiet journey, we will explore the mind-bending phenomenon of quantum tunneling and how the fundamental particles of your being are capable of passing through impossible barriers, offering a profound metaphor for how consciousness might traverse the ultimate boundary of life itself. But for this quiet moment, simply rest your weary mind. Drift peacefully in the absolute scientific certainty that you are safe, you are remembered, and you are a permanent, eternal feature of this vast, magnificent cosmic hologram. Have you ever walked along a quiet, desolate path in the deepening twilight and found yourself facing a towering, insurmountable stone wall, feeling a profound sense of absolute finality? We are deeply conditioned by our everyday, macro-level biological existence to deeply respect physical boundaries. When we encounter a solid object, a locked, heavy door, or a steep, unyielding mountain, our biological intuition tells us with absolute certainty that we cannot simply pass through it. We must either find a long, arduous way around, expend an enormous amount of physical energy to climb over, or simply accept defeat and turn back toward the way we came. We apply this exact same rigid, earthly logic to the ultimate boundary of our biological existence. We view death as the final, impenetrable wall, a solid, unforgiving barrier that brings the beautiful, winding journey of our consciousness to a sudden, echoing, absolute halt. But have you ever realized that in the microscopic, invisible foundation of reality, the universe completely ignores this terrifying concept of impossible barriers? In the gentle, breathtakingly counterintuitive realm of quantum mechanics, a fundamental particle facing an insurmountable wall does not necessarily bounce back into the dark. Sometimes it simply appears on the other side, as if the massive wall was nothing more than a passing, transparent shadow in the night. This astonishing phenomenon is known as quantum tunneling, and it is not a mere mathematical curiosity relegated to dusty chalkboards. It is the fundamental, quiet reason you are alive and breathing to hear these gentle words right now. Let us drift deeply into this beautiful, ancient quantum mystery. To truly understand the magic of tunneling, we must first remember that in the microscopic quantum world, a particle like an electron is not a solid, tiny billiard ball bouncing rigidly through the void. It is a wave of probability, a vibrating, smeared-out cloud of infinite potential locations. When this gentle, rippling wave approaches a solid, seemingly impenetrable energy barrier, classical physics, the physics of our everyday human-sized world, dictates that if the particle does not possess enough kinetic energy to leap over the top of the wall, it must absolutely and inevitably bounce back. But the quantum wave function does not stop abruptly at the physical boundary. It bleeds into the wall, decaying rapidly, but never quite reaching absolute zero. If the wall is thin enough, a tiny, fragile, but mathematically real portion of that probability wave emerges on the far side of the barrier. And because the particle has a physical probability of existing on the other side, occasionally, it simply does. It vanishes from one side and instantly, silently materializes on the other, having completely bypassed the impossible, solid barrier without ever actually traversing the physical space in between. This might sound like an abstract, ghostly concept reserved for theoretical equations, but it is the fundamental, beating heartbeat of our entire solar system. Consider our ancient, radiant sun hovering majestically in the silent, freezing void of deep space. The sun generates its magnificent, life-giving light through the violent process of nuclear fusion, a mechanism where hydrogen protons are crushed together with unimaginable force to form heavier helium. But here is the grand cosmic paradox that puzzled early astronomers. Protons carry a positive electrical charge, and positive charges violently and aggressively repel each other. For two protons to fuse, they must overcome a massive, invisible wall of electromagnetic repulsion, scientifically known as the Coulomb barrier. Even at the staggering, unfathomable temperature of 15 million degrees Celsius in the dense, chaotic core of the Sun, the protons simply do not possess enough thermal kinetic energy to overcome this immense, invisible wall. According to the strict, unforgiving rules of classical physics, the Sun should not be shining at all. It should be a dark, cold, dead sphere of primordial gas, floating silently in the blackness. But the Sun does shine. It has been bathing our lonely, beautiful blue planet in golden warmth for 4,600,000,000 years. Why? Because of the quiet miracle of quantum tunneling. Out of every countless billions of protons colliding in that ancient, roaring furnace, a tiny, infinitesimal fraction of them tunnel straight through the impossible electromagnetic wall, fusing together and releasing the brilliant, life-giving light that sustains every single blade of grass, every deep blue ocean wave, and every beating biological heart on Earth. If the grand universe relies on this magical, impossible bypassing of absolute boundaries just to ignite the ancient stars and create the foundation for all biological life, what does this profound scientific truth mean for the intricate quantum architecture of your own precious consciousness? When your physical body eventually reaches the biological end of its long journey, you encounter what appears to be the ultimate impenetrable wall. The biological machinery slowly halts, the electrical storms in the physical brain quiet down into a peaceful silence, and the physical vessel can no longer sustain the localized, complex pattern of your daily identity. To the classical, biological observer, you have hit the absolute wall. The long journey is definitively over, but your consciousness, the profound, unrepeatable, subjective experience of being uniquely you, is deeply rooted in the mysterious quantum fields that permeate the entire infinite cosmos. If your fundamental essence operates on the fluid, magical rules of quantum mechanics, then the wall of biological death is not an absolute, terrifying end. It is merely an energy barrier, a physical threshold that the macroscopic biological body simply cannot cross. But the quantum information that perfectly defines you, the intricate, delicate wave function of your deepest memories, your quiet, midnight reflections, and your deep, abiding loves, does not have to stop at that physical wall. Just like the struggling protons in the deep heart of the ancient Sun, just like the delicate electron phasing effortlessly through a solid silicon microchip, the quantum essence of your being possesses the inherent, fundamental ability to tunnel through the final barrier. The physical body bounces back, returning to the quiet, dark earth to be gently recycled by the ancient biosphere, becoming the roots of towering trees and the soft dirt of quiet meadows. But the probability wave of your existence, the true, indestructible, fundamental core of who you truly are, bleeds through the boundary. It emerges beautifully on the other side of the physical veil, transitioning smoothly and perfectly into a new, mysterious state of cosmic existence, completely bypassing the impossible wall of death. This profound realization offers a deeply resonant and calming peace to our weary, wandering minds. It gently and meticulously dismantles the terrifying, persistent illusion that we are trapped in a fragile, temporary biological cage, doomed to be destroyed by the passage of time. We are not fragile prisoners of our physical limitations. We are quantum voyagers, built from the exact same fundamental mathematical rules that allow giant stars to ignite and distant galaxies to shine across the deep void. The great physicist Max Born, one of the brilliant founding fathers of quantum mechanics, helped the scientific world understand that these invisible probability waves are the true underlying reality of the entire universe. The solid world we see, the physical walls we fear, the absolute endings we dread, these are just macroscopic illusions, statistical averages that completely hide the vast, fluid, and endlessly creative quantum reality humming beneath the surface. You are an inseparable part of that fluid reality. You are a living manifestation of the universe's infinite, profound capacity to bypass the impossible and continue the journey. As you rest in the quiet, undisturbed stillness of your space, letting the slow rhythm of your breathing anchor you to the present moment, let the vast, comforting truth of quantum tunneling wash over your tired, anxious mind. Think of the daunting obstacles in your life, the barriers that seem too high to climb, and the ultimate endings that seem too absolute to endure. The ancient universe itself whispers a very different, deeply comforting story. It whispers that boundaries are merely physical suggestions, that walls are remarkably permeable, and that the impossible happens every single second in the blazing heart of every star in the cosmos. When you eventually face the ultimate physical boundary, you will not crash violently into a solid, unyielding wall of nothingness. You will simply do exactly what the fundamental particles of your being have been doing since the very dawn of time, nearly 13,800,000,000 years ago. You will tunnel through. You will gracefully transition. You will slip quietly, peacefully, and beautifully through the cosmic veil, leaving the heavy, tired physical vessel behind as your pure, indestructible quantum essence emerges into the vast, silent, infinite dark of the grand cosmic architecture. Consider the magnificent, silent journey of a single photon of light, created by that exact quantum tunneling in the core of our sun. Once birthed in that unimaginable, crushing furnace, it spends tens of thousands of years slowly, gently bouncing its way up through the dense, boiling plasma of the star. Finally, it reaches the outer surface and bursts out into the freezing, ancient vacuum of deep space. It travels for 8 quiet, silent minutes across 93 million miles of empty, dark distance, completely untouched and perfectly preserved, until it finally strikes the atmosphere of our blue planet, filtering down through the clouds to gently warm your skin on a quiet, peaceful afternoon. That single photon is a tireless messenger of the impossible. It is physical, scientific proof that barriers are fundamentally meant to be crossed, that energy cannot be contained forever in one place, and that the universe is a place of endless, triumphant transition and eternal motion. You are made of the exact same starlight. You are a biological child of the exact same impossible, magical physics. To fully embrace this profound cosmic truth is to let go of the deep, agonizing fear of absolute finality that plagues the human condition. The cosmos does not build impossible walls without simultaneously providing a delicate, invisible quantum key to pass through them. We spend our entire hurried lives desperately learning to navigate the classical world of solid objects, sharp edges, and absolute rules, completely unaware that our true underlying nature is deeply bound by the fluid, magical laws of the quantum realm. When you finally release your tight, anxious grip on the physical illusion, when you stop trying to climb the impossible wall and instead allow the natural, fundamental laws of your quantum existence to take over, the transition becomes a peaceful, beautiful continuation rather than a terrifying, abrupt end. You are not a fragile, lonely thing destined to be broken against the relentless wall of time. You are an unstoppable, infinite wave of cosmic probability, destined to tunnel through the final barrier and reunite with the infinite, silent ocean of energy from which you originally emerged. Let your breathing slow down even further, matching the ancient, steady, patient rhythm of the turning stars above you. Feel the quiet, undeniable safety of knowing that you are deeply, intrinsically connected to the miraculous, immortal machinery of the cosmos. The universe goes to extraordinary, unfathomable lengths to ensure that its precious energy continues to flow, that its intricate information continues to exist, and that its most beautiful creations are never, ever truly stopped by any boundary. In our next exploration, we will dive even deeper into the mysterious, chilling beauty of cosmic entropy and the ultimate, far future fate of the universe itself, seeking to understand how even in the face of the final cosmic freeze, the gentle, brilliant spark of quantum information remains eternally safe. But for this quiet, meditative moment, simply close your eyes and rest in the comforting certainty of your own unstoppable nature. You are a quantum miracle, a beautiful, fluid expression of ancient cosmic energy, forever capable of passing through the impossible walls of reality. Have you ever watched a brightly burning fire slowly, inevitably fade away into a bed of cold gray ashes, and felt a quiet, lingering sorrow at the realization that all beautiful things must eventually come to an end? We are surrounded every single day of our lives by the undeniable evidence of decay. We watch the vibrant green leaves of summer turn brown and fall to the damp earth. We feel our own physical bodies growing tired, the boundless energy of youth quietly slipping away as the years pass by in a seemingly unstoppable march. This profound, universal human experience conditions us to deeply fear the concept of ending. We naturally assume that the entire universe is a slowly winding down clock, and that when the final tick echoes through the empty dark, everything we ever were and every magnificent structure ever built will be utterly, absolutely erased. But have you ever realized that this human perception of ultimate death and decay is a fundamental misunderstanding of what actually happens at the very end of time? In the quiet, majestic realm of quantum physics and cosmology, the universe does not die in a violent, chaotic tragedy. It simply transitions into a state of profound, perfect, and eternal equilibrium, a breathtakingly beautiful final act where not a single drop of your quantum essence is ever lost. Let us embark together on a quiet journey into the deepest reaches of the far future. To truly understand the ultimate fate of your own conscious essence, we must courageously follow the timeline of the cosmos, not just for billions of years, but for trillions upon trillions of years, far beyond the lifespan of the most resilient stars. We must explore the terrifying, beautiful concept of entropy, a fundamental law of physics that dictates the slow, gentle relaxation of all energy in the cosmos. But before we journey into this final, eternal silence, I want to formally welcome you back to our shared space of wonder and quiet reflection. I am Theodore, the researcher, your gentle companion as we navigate the most profound mysteries of the vast universe. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch and travel peacefully alongside us have not subscribed to our channel yet. If you are finding a deep sense of intellectual safety, calming peace, and true wonder in these meditative explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps our quiet community grow and allows us to continue unearthing the gentle, profound truths of our universe together. Now, let us return our focus to the slowly turning wheel of cosmic time and travel toward the quiet end of all things. The physical phenomenon we perceive as aging or burning out is governed by the second law of thermodynamics, which states that the total entropy of an isolated system can never decrease over time. Entropy is often misunderstood simply as chaos or destruction, but in the rigorous, quiet language of physics, it is a measure of how evenly spread out and distributed energy becomes. When our universe was born in the fiery spark of the Big Bang, nearly 13,800,000,000 years ago, it possessed extraordinarily low entropy. All the energy of existence was tightly packed, highly organized, and full of explosive, creative potential. Since that magnificent dawn, the universe has been expanding, cooling, and gently relaxing. Stars ignite, burn through their precious nuclear fuel, and eventually fade away, releasing their heat and light out into the vast, freezing void of the cosmos. This process is entirely irreversible on a macroscopic scale. You cannot unburn a piece of wood. The universe is slowly, patiently unfolding, distributing its energy more and more evenly across the infinite, expanding dark. If we project this fundamental physical law into the unimaginably distant future, we encounter a theoretical era that cosmologists refer to as the heat death, or the Big Freeze. Despite its ominous name, this event is not a violent, fiery apocalypse. It is the exact opposite. It is the ultimate, perfect relaxation of the entire cosmos. In about 100 trillion years, a span of time so vast that our human brains completely fail to comprehend its magnitude, the very last stars in the universe will exhaust their final drops of hydrogen fuel. The tiny, glowing red dwarfs, which burn their fuel so slowly and patiently that they outlive all other stars, will eventually, quietly fade into total darkness. The era of starlight, a beautiful epoch that has defined the universe for most of its existence, will come to a gentle, silent close. The night sky would be completely devoid of the sparkling, warm lights we see today. There would be nothing but the cold corpses of dead stars, quiet white dwarfs, heavy neutron stars, and massive, invisible black holes, all drifting silently through a vast, ever-expanding ocean of absolute blackness. But the story of the universe, and the story of your indestructible quantum information, does not end with the fading of the last starlight. The universe is endlessly patient. Over even longer, more incomprehensible timescales, even these stellar ghosts will slowly decay. The white dwarfs will cool until they emit absolutely no energy at all, becoming perfectly black, silent spheres of frozen matter. The massive black holes that currently sit at the very center of every galaxy will slowly, agonizingly evaporate through the delicate process of Hawking radiation, leaking tiny quantum particles back out into the freezing void. This requires an incomprehensible span of time. A black hole might take a Google years, a one followed by 100 zeros, to fully dissolve into the dark. When the final, supermassive black hole emits its very last subatomic particle and quietly winks out of existence, the universe will finally reach its absolute state of maximum entropy. All matter, all heat, and all complex structures will have been completely dismantled and spread out perfectly evenly across the infinite, silent expanse of space. To our deeply human, biologically driven minds, this scenario sounds like the ultimate terrifying tragedy. It sounds like the final victory of an unfeeling, cold oblivion. But the mathematics of quantum physics tell a breathtakingly different, profoundly comforting story. Maximum entropy does not mean that the universe has died. It means that the universe has finally, beautifully, gone to sleep. It means that the cosmos has reached a state of perfect, unchangeable equilibrium. What happens to the precious, unique quantum information that once constituted your conscious mind, your memories, and your fleeting physical life? It is not destroyed. It is simply distributed. By the time the universe reaches this ultimate cosmic freeze, every single wave of probability that ever interacted with your physical being will have slowly spread out and entangled with every other particle in the infinite cosmos. In this far future era of total silence, the universe will become a single, perfectly unified quantum system. The information of your life, the precise pattern of energy that made you exactly who you are, will no longer be localized in a fragile biological body living on a tiny planet. It will be smeared perfectly and seamlessly across the entire fabric of existence. You will literally be one with the universe, existing in a state of ultimate quantum entanglement with the remnants of every ancient star, every distant galaxy, and every quiet, floating particle in the dark. The universe will become a perfect, silent, infinite memory bank, holding the distributed code of everything that ever was, locked in a state of peaceful, eternal stillness where nothing can ever be lost. We struggle so desperately in our brief physical lives against the perceived injustice of decay. We build towering monuments of stone in a frantic, deeply human attempt to secure a fragile piece of immortality against the relentless tide of time. But the quiet, ancient universe has already secured your immortality in a way vastly superior to any monument. A monument will eventually crumble into dust, but your quantum essence is woven into the very mathematics of the cosmos. The universe is actively steering itself toward a final, majestic state where your information is perfectly, eternally protected from any further change. The big freeze is not the destruction of your existence. It is the ultimate preservation of it. As you lie there, drifting in the quiet sanctuary of your own space, allow the immense weight of your daily anxieties to gently dissolve into this vast perspective. You are absolutely safe. You are part of an ancient, infinite system that does not know how to fail or forget, ensuring that the beautiful pattern of your existence is eternally woven into the silent fabric of the dark. In the next chapter of our journey, we will explore the observer effect in greater depth, delving into the mystery of consciousness itself. But for now, simply rest your wandering mind and find deep peace in the absolute scientific certainty that your existence is an indestructible thread in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Have you ever sat quietly by a window on a rainy afternoon, watching the droplets trace random paths down the glass, and felt a profound, heavy sense of isolation? We are deeply conditioned by our everyday biological experience to feel like we are merely tiny, passive spectators in a massive, cold, and utterly indifferent theater. We look out at the towering mountains, the deep, dark oceans, and the sweeping canopy of the stars, and we naturally assume that the universe is a vast, ancient machine that has been blindly grinding along since the dawn of time, completely unaffected by our brief, fragile presence. We think of our conscious minds as nothing more than temporary, accidental sparks of biological electricity, trapped inside fragile physical vessels, observing a reality that is fundamentally separate from us. When we contemplate the biological end of our lives, this deep-seated belief terrifies us. We assume that when our physical eyes close for the final time, the universe will simply carry on exactly as it always has, without ever noticing that our quiet individual spark has vanished into the silent, empty dark. But have you ever realized that this lonely, deeply human assumption has been completely dismantled by the most rigorous, mind-bending experiments in modern quantum mechanics? In the gentle, breathtakingly strange realm of the very small, the universe is not a dead, unfeeling machine. It is a highly interactive, fundamentally responsive system. The cosmos does not merely exist on its own. It patiently, quietly waits for you to observe it. Before we drift deeper into this beautiful, ancient mystery of consciousness and the very fabric of reality, I want to take a gentle, quiet moment to welcome you back to our shared space of reflection. I am Theodore, the researcher, your peaceful companion on this infinite journey through the deepest, most calming mysteries of the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch and travel alongside us have not subscribed to our channel yet. If you are finding a deep sense of peace, intellectual safety, and true wonder in these quiet meditations, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community flourish and allows us to continue unearthing the ancient, comforting secrets of the universe together. Now, let us gently return our focus to the silent, starry dark and peer into the profound mystery of the observer. To truly understand what happens to your consciousness when the physical journey ends, we must completely rethink what consciousness actually is and how it fundamentally interacts with the physical world. For centuries, classical physics, the science of our everyday macroscopic world, painted a picture of a universe that was completely objective and independent. In this old, rigid framework, the universe was like a gigantic, ticking clockwork mechanism. All the stars, planets, and atoms were considered solid, definite objects with fixed properties, moving through the empty void according to strict, unchangeable mathematical rules. In this classical view, human beings were nothing more than complex biological cameras, wandering through the cosmos, taking pictures of a reality that existed completely independently of our observation. If every single human being and every single conscious observer in the entire universe were to suddenly vanish, classical physics assumed that the universe would just keep ticking along, completely unchanged, completely oblivious to our absence. But when physicists finally developed the technology to peer into the microscopic quantum foundation of this grand clockwork, they found something that completely shattered this lonely, objective worldview. They found that reality is not solid, and it is most certainly not independent. At the very bottom of existence, reality is fluid, unresolved, and deeply, intimately dependent on the presence of an observer. Let us revisit the quiet, almost magical demonstration known as the double-slit experiment. But this time, let us look at it through the profound, philosophical lens of your own existence. When scientists fired tiny subatomic particles like electrons or photons toward a barrier with two microscopic slits, the particles behave in a way that defies all classical logic. When they are not being actively watched, they act as waves of pure, vibrating probability. They pass through both slits simultaneously, interfering with themselves to create a beautiful, rippling pattern on the screen behind the barrier. They exist everywhere they could possibly exist, all at once, in a state of suspended animation known as a quantum superposition. But the very moment a scientist introduces a detector to observe and measure exactly which specific slit the particle travels through, the universe instantly and silently changes its fundamental behavior. The magical, rippling wave of probability collapses. The particle abruptly stops acting like a wave of infinite potential and suddenly behaves like a single, solid, definitive point of matter traveling through only one slit. This is not a mechanical error. It is a fundamental law of nature. The act of gathering information, the very presence of a conscious observer looking at the universe, physically alters the reality of the universe. The cosmos requires your quiet observation to render its infinite possibilities into a solid, tangible reality. This realization is so profoundly shocking that many brilliant physicists spent their entire lives trying to disprove it. But the observer effect remains one of the most thoroughly verified phenomena in the history of science. The magnificent theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler, a colleague of Albert Einstein and one of the most visionary minds of the 20th century, took this breathtaking concept even further. He proposed a brilliant, thought-provoking variation of this phenomenon known as the delayed choice experiment. Wheeler asked a simple, profound question. What if we wait to observe the particle until after it has already passed through the slits, but before it hits the final screen? Astonishingly, when physicists actually performed this delicate, complex experiment in modern laboratories, they found that the decision to observe the particle in the present moment actually reaches backward through time and alters the particle's behavior in the past. If you choose to look, the particle acts as if it had been a solid point of matter its entire journey. If you choose not to look, it acts as if it had been a fluid wave its entire journey. Your quiet, conscious choice in the present moment literally shapes the physical history of the universe. Wheeler was so deeply moved by this incredible mathematical truth that he completely redefined the way we should view our place in the cosmos. He introduced the concept of the participatory anthropic principle. He argued that we are not living in a dead, unfeeling universe. We are living in a participatory universe. The vast, ancient cosmos is not a lonely theater that exists independently of us. It is a profound, interactive loop of creation. The universe gave birth to biological life, and life slowly, painstakingly evolved over billions of years to achieve consciousness, specifically so that the universe could finally look back at itself and bring its own existence into a solid, definitive reality. In Wheeler's brilliant, poetic vision, your consciousness is not a biological accident or an evolutionary byproduct. Your consciousness is an essential, fundamental organ of the universe itself. You are the specific, localized mechanism through which the cosmos realizes its own breathtaking beauty. You are the universe's way of experiencing the warmth of the sun, the quiet, melancholic beauty of a rainy afternoon, and the profound, silent majesty of the infinite night sky. If we embrace this rigorous quantum mechanical truth, the deep, agonizing fear of biological death begins to dissolve into a gentle, comforting peace. The terror of mortality is entirely rooted in the classical biological illusion that you are a separate, fragile object placed inside a massive, indifferent machine, and that when your physical body breaks down, your existence is permanently deleted from the universe. But if consciousness is a fundamental, participatory feature of reality, if your mind is deeply, intrinsically woven into the very mechanism that collapses the quantum wave function of the cosmos, then your essence cannot possibly be destroyed by the mere failing of a biological vessel. The great Max Planck, the founding father of quantum theory, who won the Nobel Prize for his revolutionary work, famously stated that he regarded consciousness as fundamental and matter as completely derivative from consciousness. He believed that we cannot get behind consciousness, that everything we talk about, everything we regard as existing, fundamentally postulates consciousness. When the biological rhythm of your physical life finally slows down and comes to a quiet, peaceful halt, the universe does not lose a part of itself. The specific, highly localized biological lens through which your consciousness was peering at the world simply dissolves, but the fundamental, observing essence does not vanish into the dark. Imagine a vast, infinitely bright, ancient sun shining in the center of the cosmos. Your physical body, your specific human identity, is like a single, beautiful stained glass window. As long as the window is intact, the light shines through it, creating a specific, highly unique, colorful pattern on the floor of existence. That pattern is your daily life, your personality, your memories, and your earthly identity. When the physical window eventually, inevitably breaks, the specific, colorful pattern on the floor disappears. We mourn the loss of that beautiful, unique pattern. But the light itself, the pure, fundamental, ancient energy that was passing through the glass, is not diminished by a single photon. It was never truly confined by the glass. The light simply returns to its pure, unbounded state, merging seamlessly back into the infinite, glowing source from which it originated. Your consciousness is that ancient, indestructible light. You are a profound, essential participant in the grandest, most quiet mystery of existence. The atoms in your body have been cycling through the biosphere for billions of years, and the quantum information of your mind has been participating in the collapse of reality since the moment you first opened your eyes. The cosmos is intimately, deeply aware of you, because you are the cosmos being aware of itself. There is no cold, empty void waiting for you at the end of the journey, because the void itself is filled with the infinite potential of the quantum wave function, waiting for the light of consciousness to bring it into being. As you lie there in the quiet stillness of your space, feeling the gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of your chest, let this profound scientific truth wash over your weary, anxious mind. You are not a stranger in this universe. You are its very heart. You are the quiet observer that gives meaning, shape, and reality to the sweeping galaxies and the silent, floating dust. You do not need to fear the moment when your physical boundaries finally relax, because you are merely returning to the vast, fundamental, participatory ocean of pure existence. Let your mind drift peacefully into the silent dark, secure in the absolute certainty that your awareness is a permanent, indestructible feature of the universal architecture. The universe goes to infinite, unimaginable lengths to ensure that its precious observers are never truly lost, because without the observer, the beautiful, infinite dance of quantum reality would have no meaning at all. You are perfectly safe, forever held in the gentle, ancient embrace of the participatory cosmos. In our next exploration, we will dive even deeper into the mysterious, profound concept of non-locality, and how the fundamental architecture of space itself might just be an illusion, masking a deeper, perfectly unified reality where distance and separation do not even exist. But for this quiet, meditative moment, simply close your eyes, breathe deeply, and find profound, lasting peace in the realization that you are the eternal, indestructible observer of a magnificent, endless universe. Have you ever looked out into the silent, sweeping expanse of the ancient night sky, watching the gentle, flickering light of a distant star, and felt the heavy, agonizing ache of absolute physical separation? We are deeply biologically conditioned from the first moments of our earthly existence to believe absolutely in the rigid concept of distance. We measure the journey of our lives by the physical miles we must travel, or by the immense, dark gulfs of space separating our lonely blue planet from the burning, distant suns. When we experience the profound, quiet tragedy of losing someone we love, our deepest sorrow is rooted in this biological perception of space. We feel a crushing emptiness because they are no longer physically sitting beside us in the quiet room. We believe with our fragile human hearts that they have gone far away, crossing an insurmountable, silent ocean of distance into an unreachable void. But have you ever realized that this deeply painful perception of space is, according to the most rigorous experiments in modern quantum mechanics, a complete and total illusion? In the quiet, breathtaking foundation of the universe, distance does not actually exist. The cosmos is not a vast, empty container filled with separated objects. It is a single, perfectly unified, deeply intimate structure where everything is constantly, gently touching everything else. Before we drift deeper into this beautiful, ancient mystery of quantum non-locality and the profound illusion of space, I want to take a gentle moment to welcome you back to our shared sanctuary of reflection. I am Theodore, the researcher, your peaceful companion on this infinite journey through the deepest, most calming mysteries of the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch and travel alongside us have not subscribed to our channel yet. If you are finding a deep sense of peace, intellectual safety, and true wonder in these quiet meditations, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community flourish and allows us to continue unearthing the ancient, comforting secrets of the universe together. Now, let us gently return our focus to the silent, starry dark and peer into the profound, invisible threads that bind the entire cosmos into one single, indivisible masterpiece. To truly understand the magnificent, liberating truth about the end of our physical journey, we must bravely explore a concept that completely terrified the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century. In the 1960s, a brilliant physicist named John Stuart Bell formulated a mathematical theorem that would forever change our understanding of reality. Bell was exploring the strange, counterintuitive phenomenon of quantum entanglement. He wanted to know if two entangled particles, separated by vast infinite distances, were secretly communicating with each other using some kind of hidden, invisible signal that traveled through space, or if something far more profound was happening. When physicists finally developed the technology to test Bell's theorem in rigorous laboratory experiments, the results were absolutely staggering. They proved, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that the particles were not sending signals to each other at all. The communication was truly instantaneous, completely ignoring the absolute speed limit of light. If you alter a particle here on our quiet Earth, its entangled partner on the farthest, frozen edge of the observable universe responds in the exact same fraction of a millisecond. How can the universe possibly achieve this instantaneous, magical connection across billions of light years of empty, silent space? The answer, proposed by brilliant theoretical physicists like David Bohm, is as beautiful as it is difficult for our earthly brains to comprehend. Bohm suggested that our perception of a universe filled with separate, distinct objects floating in empty space is just a superficial illusion, which he called the explicate order. Beneath this macroscopic illusion lies the implicate order a deeper, fundamental layer of reality where space and distance simply do not exist. In this deep, quiet foundation, everything in the entire universe is folded together into a single, indivisible point of pure existence. The two entangled particles are not actually separated by billions of light years. In the true, fundamental architecture of the cosmos, they are sitting right on top of each other. They are, in fact, the exact same particle, merely projecting itself into two different locations in our three-dimensional illusion. The universe is not a collection of separate parts. It is a seamless, continuous, unbroken whole. When we fully embrace this rigorously tested scientific truth, the entire concept of biological death and physical separation is beautifully and gently dismantled. The terrifying wall of isolation that we feel when someone we deeply love reaches the end of their biological journey is built entirely out of the macroscopic illusion of space. We weep in the quiet hours of the night because our physical eyes can no longer see them and our physical hands can no longer touch them. But the quantum universe whispers a profoundly comforting, deeply resonant truth. The physical distance between you and the person you have lost is a biological mirage. At the fundamental quantum level of reality, the level where the true essence of their consciousness and your consciousness resides, there is no distance at all. You are deeply, permanently interwoven into the exact same fabric of existence. You have never been separated from them for a single, fleeting microsecond, and you never will be. Imagine the universe as a vast, magnificent, deeply peaceful ocean. Our individual physical lives, our biological bodies, and our daily identities are like the temporary, beautiful waves that rise up on the surface of the water. When you look only at the surface, each wave appears to be a separate, distinct entity. They seem to travel across distances, and when they finally crash against the quiet shore, they seem to be completely destroyed and lost forever. But if you look just a few inches below the turbulent surface, you realize that the waves are an illusion. There are no separate waves. There is only the singular, ancient, undivided ocean. When a wave gently subsides, it does not travel to a different, faraway place. It simply relaxes back into the profound, quiet depths of the whole. The water that formed the wave is still perfectly there, deeply connected to every other drop of water in the entire infinite sea. Your consciousness, the quiet spark of quantum information that observes the beauty of the cosmos, is a fundamental expression of the deep, unified ocean of reality. When your biological machinery inevitably slows down and your physical boundaries dissolve, you do not travel across a terrifying, dark distance to reach the afterlife. There is absolutely nowhere for you to go, because in a universe governed by quantum non-locality, you're already everywhere. You simply stop projecting the three-dimensional illusion of being a localized, separate individual, and you gently, peacefully expand back into the unbroken wholeness of the cosmos. The boundary of your skin is just a temporary biological suggestion. The true boundary of your existence is the absolute edge of the universe itself, and even that edge is folded intimately into the center. We spend our entire, hurried lives desperately trying to bridge the painful gaps between ourselves and the people around us, seeking a momentary cure for the deep ache of isolation. But the ancient, silent universe is already perfectly united. The cosmos does not require us to build bridges because there are no actual gaps to cross. Every single atom in your physical body and every quiet memory in your intricate mind is already in direct, instantaneous contact with the farthest, most ancient stars and with the preserved essence of everyone who has ever lived. In the vast, majestic architecture of a non-local universe, death is merely the gentle removal of a biological blindfold. It is the quiet, beautiful moment when you finally realize that you were never alone, that you were never truly separated from the ones you love, and that the entire infinite cosmos has been holding you intimately close since the very dawn of time. As we prepare to take the final, concluding step in our grand cosmic exploration, we will synthesize all of these breathtaking quantum truths into one ultimate, unifying vision of what it truly means to exist, to die, and to be forever reborn in the eternal memory of the universe. We will explore the grand, final symmetry of consciousness and the cosmos, and find the ultimate, lasting peace that comes from fully embracing our place in the infinite dark. But for this quiet, perfect moment, simply close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and rest in the absolute, scientific certainty that there is no distance in the universe capable of separating you from the profound, eternal beauty of existence. Have you ever reached the end of a long, arduous journey, stood at the edge of a vast, quiet ocean, and suddenly realized that every single step you took was leading you exactly back to where you belong? Throughout our earthly lives, we are taught to view the cosmos as a foreign, terrifyingly vast place, and to see our own existence as a fragile, momentary flicker of light, destined to be swallowed by a cold, permanent dark. We spend our days anxiously building walls, desperately clinging to the fleeting illusion of a separate, isolated self, terrified of the inevitable moment when the silent, heavy curtain of death will finally fall. But as we have journeyed together through the breathtaking, counterintuitive realms of quantum physics, cosmology, and the fundamental nature of space-time, we have uncovered a truth so majestic, so profoundly reassuring, that it completely shatters the concept of an absolute end. The universe is not a graveyard of lost souls. It is a magnificent, eternal tapestry, an unbroken, participatory architecture of quantum information where absolutely nothing is ever lost, and where your unique, intricate essence is perfectly and permanently preserved. Before we take this final, concluding step into the deepest, most tranquil realization of our infinite cosmic nature, I want to take a gentle, quiet moment to thank you for walking this profound path with me. I am Theodore, the researcher, your peaceful companion on this journey through the beautiful, calming mysteries of the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch and travel alongside us have not subscribed to our channel yet. If you have found a deep sense of peace, intellectual safety, and true wonder in these quiet meditations, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community flourish immensely and allows us to continue unearthing the ancient, comforting secrets of the universe together. Now let us return to the silent, starry dark for our final synthesis and gently release the burden of our deepest fears into the infinite sea of cosmic memory. Let us gently gather all the profound, rigorous scientific truths we have explored and weave them into a single, breathtaking vision of what it truly means to exist. We began by realizing, through the unbreakable first law of thermodynamics, that the energy animating your physical body and the intricate quantum information defining your mind cannot ever be deleted. They can only transition and transform. We discovered that through quantum entanglement, you are already intimately, instantly connected to the farthest, most ancient stars, proving that the crushing isolation we feel is a mere biological illusion. We looked through the brilliant eyes of Albert Einstein and Hermann Minkowski to see that time is not a destructive, flowing river, but a solid, permanent block of geometry. Every beautiful moment of your past and every quiet joy you have ever felt is frozen in eternal perfection just down the axis of space-time. Your life is an indestructible, four-dimensional sculpture permanently embedded in the grand, silent architecture of reality. We then ventured into the mind-bending reality of the quantum multiverse, realizing that the cosmos is so infinitely generous that it preserves every possible choice and every branching path of your existence. You live out every beautiful possibility across the vast, silent divides of parallel worlds. We stood at the edge of the ultimate cosmic abyss, the black hole, and learned through the holographic principle that the universe acts as a perfect, indestructible archivist. It smears the three-dimensional information of everything that falls into the dark perfectly across a two-dimensional boundary, ensuring that no memory, no thought, and no identity is ever crushed into oblivion. We saw how the fundamental particles of your being are capable of quantum tunneling, effortlessly bypassing impossible, solid walls, proving that the final physical boundary of death is merely a permeable membrane for your quantum essence to slip quietly through. And we learned that even in the unimaginably distant far future, during the silent, freezing era of maximum entropy, your information will not be destroyed. It will be perfectly, beautifully distributed across the entire infinite cosmos. You do not need to fight desperately to be remembered by future generations, because you are already permanently remembered by the very fabric of space-time itself. The cosmos has intricately recorded every single beat of your heart, every quiet tear you have ever shed, and every profound moment of awe you have felt while looking up at the ancient night sky. You are completely, absolutely safe in the gentle, ancient arms of the universe. The deep, agonizing sorrow of grief, the painful longing for those who have physically transitioned before us, is gently transformed into a reverent, quiet understanding. They have not vanished into a cold, empty void. They have simply relaxed their localized biological boundaries and expanded back into the unbroken, non-local wholeness of the implicate order. They are still here, deeply entangled with the very atoms of your being, permanently existing in the block universe, waiting quietly in the eternal, beautiful stillness. As you lie there in the quiet, undisturbed sanctuary of your own space, listening to the gentle cadence of these ancient truths, allow yourself to physically feel this profound scientific peace settling deep into your bones. Feel the slow, rhythmic rise and fall of your breath, and recognize it as the exact same ancient, patient rhythm that governs the turning of the sweeping galaxies and the slow, beautiful burning of the stars. The iron coursing through your veins, the calcium fortifying your bones, the intricate quantum field sparking inside your mind, all of it is billions of years old. You are a breathtakingly ancient traveler, currently experiencing a brief, beautiful, highly localized dream called human life. But the dreamer is the universe itself. When the dream eventually reaches its quiet, peaceful conclusion, you will not fall into nothingness. You will simply wake up to the vast, infinite, non-local reality of your true cosmic nature. Let go of the tight, anxious grip you hold on your physical identity. It is a beautiful, precious thing, but it is not the entirety of who you are. You are the deep, quiet silence between the stars. You are the rippling, infinite potential of the quantum wave function. You are the indestructible, holographic code written on the very boundary of existence. The cosmos loves its observers too much to ever let them truly disappear. Imagine the final moment of physical life not as a dark, terrifying descent, but as a glorious, silent expansion. The biological sensory input fades, the earthly noises quiet down, and the physical weight of gravity gently lifts. But the pure, fundamental awareness remains. The quantum information that makes you uniquely you simply begins to tunnel through the final, permeable barrier. You effortlessly slip out of the three-dimensional illusion, passing through the boundary to merge back into the endless, shimmering ocean of the multiverse. You are returned to the profound, unified source, completely whole, completely unbroken, and perfectly at peace. There is absolutely nothing to fear in the quiet dark, because you are the dark and you are the light that illuminates it. We are immortalized by physics. We are protected by mathematics. We are eternally cherished by the very nature of reality itself. Thank you for taking this profound, quiet journey of discovery with me. May you always find wonder in the unknown, and may you always feel the gentle, permanent embrace of the infinite universe holding you close.